Mr. Monkey D. Luffy. So what seems to be the problem?
Well, you see, Oda, this has just not been my saga. Cause first I lose all of my friends to a cyborg bear, then I'm trapped on an island of women who all want to steal my personal treasure. Then I break into prison and participate in World War III to save my brother, but then he dies because he couldn't handle a yo daddy joke.
You know what? I have just the thing. Here, take one of these.
A time skip?
Hello everyone, and welcome to my review for each arc in One Piece. Finally, after all this time, we've reached the end of the beginning. The post-war arc marks the finale for not just the Summit War saga, but for the first half of One Piece. Not literally though. An arc that's all about reflection, acceptance, and growth, focusing on Luffy's mental struggle to overcome the hardships he's faced within this saga. Despite the struggle, Luffy would always come out on top, but now he's finally reached that ceiling, and so him and his crew are going to need to take a step back and reevaluate themselves before heading into the new world. So run around in the forest, remember that all rich people are evil, and take your workouts to the next level as we reflect on our past in the post-war arc, the 2-year plan. The post-war arc is 26 episodes and 17 chapters. The War of the Best has finally come to an end. The Marines have won as they scream with pride over the deaths of Ace and Whitebeard. It doesn't take long for news to get out as the rest of the world celebrates that the supposed villains have been vanquished by the heroic Marines. To most, the death of Whitebeard brings the ignorant peace of mind, but to those who understood his value comes the loss of their homes, as many pirates invade the islands under the late Newgate's protection. Wait, what?
Fucking Marines.
With the knowledge that the One Piece truly does exist, despite the fact we still haven't fucking seen it, a new wave of pirates take to the seas in search of wealth, fame, and power. While brand new Sho Sengoku, the Impel Down arc, Gekko Moria is attacked by a group of pacifistas, led by Doflamingo, who explains that he was ordered to take him out for being way too weak. Okay, Thriller Bark haters, you happy now? Back to Law and the traumatized rubber band. After surviving Kizaru's attack, they come up for some air only to be greeted by the simp queen of Boa Hancock, who's come to check in on Luffy. Trafalgar Law explains that while he was able to fix Luffy's physical scars, no amount of surgery can fix the mental scars. Hancock brings everyone to Amazon Lily, a place the government wouldn't suspect Luffy and the boys to be hiding. However, the cock-block Granny Neon reminds the Empress about the main rule of Amazon Lily. Death to Dick and Balls! They make an exception for Luffy and have everyone stay on the outskirts of the island. Despite not being allowed on the island, the Heart Pirates still get to enjoy the luxuries as they are given delicious food from our Employee of the Month, Afalandra. You know what? Luffy has been through a lot. I think he deserves some food. Oh, Luffy, we have meat to eat. Haunted by the death of his brother, Luffy wakes up in a fit of rage and regret. Unaware of reality, he runs around the island screaming for his brother. All he can do is flail around, destroying the island in an attempt to silence the dark thoughts.
What is this place? Where am I? Maybe I dreamt the whole thing.
Oh yeah! Totally! Ace is, perfectly fine.
Jinbei comes in to calm Luffy down. After a few minutes, Luffy sheds somber tears as he looks back to the better times with his brothers. 10 years ago on Dawn Island, baby Luffy is spending some quality time with his grandpa, although Garp can't stand the kid and brings him to the Dawn family, led by Curly Head Dodon, the Mountain Bandit. Does your kid have rubber powers, dreams of being king of the sea terrorists, and is pretty stupid even for a child? Well, send them to the Dodon family, home to a group of hungry bandits who will force miners to kill large animals for food and threaten to murder said child for all their belongings. The Dodon family. We really hate kids.
I have a feeling that Garb won't see it that way.
Well, maybe the old jackass should have thought about that before he left him with a bunch of bandits in the woods.
Dodon kind of has a point. Like, Garp, I understand you're a busy guy, but leaving a kid with criminals in hopes that they don't become borderline terrorists is just as wild as leaving a kid with crack addicts in hopes that they don't end up smoking weed. Garp leaves and Luffy meets Ace. Hoping to make friends, he follows him around the forest, and so begins the tale of their great friendship and brotherly bond. I do not remember daycare being this wild. And for the next 3 months, failure after failure, Luffy relentlessly tries to become Ace's friend. Every attempt ended in some horrible incident, but not once would our ray of sunshine ever give up. One day on Luffy's never-ending journey, he runs into a huge silver garbage site known as Gray Terminal. Shrouded in a thick mist, Gray Terminal is the lawless area of Dawn Island, home to all kinds of crooks and the poor. Twice a day, trash dispenses from the Goa Kingdom into the trash dump. It becomes a free-for-all as the many residents look for treasure. Ace beats up some thugs for their money and then leaves Gray Terminal. On the way back, he meets up with his pal Sabo, the rich-looking poor kid. The both of them have been collecting money for the past 5 years in hopes of being able to afford a ship to set sail and become pirates. Unfortunately, Luffy heard the whole thing. Ace and Sabo attempt to kill Luffy before anyone can know about the treasure. But it looks like someone else is gonna take care of that as a group of pirates arrive at the scene. Because of Ace's previous shenanigans, he's made enemies of the Blue Jam Pirates, notorious villains of the East Blue. Horshimi grabs Luffy and asks where the money is. Ace and Sabo are afraid he'll talk, but our future king of the pirates ain't no snitch. Just like in D&D, we'll roll for deception and fool all of these boneheaded pirates.
I don't know. Sorry.
What a crappy lawyer!
God damn it! Horchimi brings Luffy to their hideout in Gray Terminal and begins torturing the kid for the information. Starting off with a karmically large hammer and then proceeds to just punch the shit out of a 7-year-old child. If this were realistic, Luffy would have died after that first punch.
Portuguese, stop it! I don't think he's gonna talk.
If he wasn't gonna talk, he would have done it already.
And to be honest, this is getting kind of hard to watch.
Yes! Was that too much?
While Ace and Sabo finish moving their treasure to a new spot, Sabo recognizes the fact that Luffy hasn't said anything about them. Sabo and Ace rush to Luffy's rescue. Ace and Sabo manage to take down Porchimi and save Luffy. Then the understanding, empathetic Blue Jam gives Porchimi a much-needed vacation. Permanently. The boys gather at the new hideout and decide their next course of action now that Blue Jam is on their tail. But first, Ace asks a very important question.
Do you think I deserve to live?
Personally, absolutely not, but I mean, that's a lot to ask of a 7-year-old.
Back at the Dodon family, the bandits wake up to triple the trouble as Sabo decides to stay with the family for his own safety. Rather than being functional members of society, the boys run around fighting monsters and training. Luffy even shows off the powers of the Gum Gum fruit. A while later, the boys pass through the great gates of Gray Terminal into Edgetown, the city of thugs and criminals. Then moving straight into Hightown, the shining jewel of Goa Kingdom. Not a hint of trash can be found in its streets. The boys pull a dine and dash, and in the middle of the confusion, they run into a father-sized man who calls out to Sabo. After some persuasion, Sabo admits that he's the son of a noble who ran away from home, and the person who called out to him was his father. From face value, the rich life sounds amazing, but for Sabo, it was a true hell. Manipulated into working hard for selfish parents, Sabo never once received love and attention from his family. Forced to study to make his dad proud, and made to be an obedient pushover to avoid embarrassing his mother. Eventually, Sabo had enough of the royal life and would constantly sneak out into Grey Terminal to hear the pirate stories about freedom and adventure. After hearing his tale, the boys shout out their goals for Sabo to write a book of his wild adventures out on sea, for Ace to become the strongest and most feared pirate in the world, and the most ambitious of all, Luffy aims to be king of the pirates. Then the boys pour a glass of sake and officially declare themselves as brothers. United as one, the Monkey Brothers continue their usual routine of harassing anything that breathes. Eventually, Dodon becomes sick of their shit and wants to kick him out. But unfortunately for everyone, it's that time of the year. Old Man Garp comes in like a hurricane, beating up women and children, then leaving before the cops can arrive. A great role model and a perfect hero of the Marines. We salute you, soldier. And so the winter season has arrived, but that won't stop the boys from their usual training. But a giant-ass tiger will. The tiger proved to be way too much for the Monkey Brothers, and so they test their strengths with Evil Yogi. It might seem easier, but this creature is much stronger than the average bear. Realizing they are way in over their head, the Monkey Brothers run away from Evil Yogi, only to be saved by a strange old man who one-shots the monster. Introducing Nagini the filler. Moving along, Blue Gem gets a message from Sabo's father to capture the kid and kill the others. And they don't waste time, as they immediately catch Sabo and the Monkey Brothers lacking in Grey Terminal. Outlook 3, yes, that is his actual name, arrives to demand Sabo come back to the Goa Kingdom. Begging for his friends' lives, Sabo promises to come back to Hightown and be an obedient son. Despite having messed with his operations, Blue Gem sees the potential in the Monkey Brothers and decides to put them to work, moving very flammable boxes across different points of the island. Back at Hightown, Sabo reunites with his family and meets his new adopted brother, Stelly.
Hey, do you know what I heard? You're dumb as a brick.
Who told you?
Stelly's fat mouth spills the beans about a crazy secret event to happen tomorrow. To prepare for the arrival of a celestial dragon, the nobles have decided to burn Grey Terminal without a care for any and all who reside there, so as not to upset the world government with its filth. Unable to believe the nobles would do something so inhumane, Sabo asks around town to make sure Stelly was just telling a bad joke. However, he comes to realize everyone is fully aware and acting like it's a harmless little activity. The nobles believe anyone who isn't of high status to be expendable. Further traumatized by Hightown, Sabo makes it his mission to warn and save his brothers. Don't worry, Sabo, Blue Jam explains the whole thing to Luffy and Ace. Outlook told Blue Jam that in exchange for setting up the bombs, Blue Jam and his crew would be promised they'd be safe from the fires and be made into nobles. Look, I'm not the smartest weeb in the tool shed, but even I know that's a load of baloney. Later that night, the Festival of Fire begins. The residents of Edgetown are confused about what's going on. The refugees of Grey Terminal try to reach for safety, but the guards refuse to let them through as they block the doors into the city. Blue Jam walks around the flames without a care in the world, as he's excited to live the good life as a noble. He shows off his VIP badge to the guards, only to realize it was a fake.
Hey! Why don't you guys let us in? I have the badge.
Oh. Well, shit.
Sabo rushes over to save his friends, but bumps into a mysterious man wearing a green cloak. Sabo explains his hatred for the nobles. Dragon looks at the boy in horror for what the nobles have done to him.
Say, Papa, how come we want to burn everybody in Great Terminal? Aren't they people too, just like us?
Not exactly. They chose to live meaningless lives.
Yup, that's exactly how that works. Moments later, Dragon gives his Batman-style monologue about defeating the injustices in the world for the future of the children. He offers people safety aboard the ship as long as they're willing to fight alongside the Revolutionary Army. Luffy and Ace run around the fire looking for a way out, only to meet up with the twisted Blue Jam pirates. With nothing left to lose, the pirates simply laugh at their own misfortune and prepare to kill the Monkey Brothers. His will to live at its utmost peak, Ace unwillingly taps into the Conqueror's spirit and knocks out most of the pirates. Being the only survivor, Captain Blue Jam shoots Ace, but Mama Dadan and the Mountain Bandits arrive just in time to help the boys out. With the boys freed, everyone makes a break for it, but Ace's stupidity causes him to stay, as no matter what, he will fight his opponents. I swear this is gonna get him killed one of these days. Dadan might be afraid, but protecting the boys gives her the courage she needs to fight alongside Ace against Blue Jam. After the destruction of Grey Terminal, the nobles of Hightown walk around like any Thursday morning, completely unfazed by the deaths of those from Grey Terminal. Sabo finally caves and goes back to his prison of nobility. However, he still thinks about the promise he made to Ace and Luffy to set out to sea. The day has finally come. For the first time in Goa Kingdom history, a celestial dragon has arrived. Everyone forms a parade and shoots out fireworks in celebration. However, they notice something strange in the distance. Everyone sees a small ship sailing towards the celestial dragon. On further inspection, that ship belongs to Sabo. Sabo has decided to not give up on his dreams and sets out to sea. And so begins his pirate journey. Okay, to be fair, Sabo should know better. Like, he could have waited at least one more day. Although in all seriousness, this moment really shows just how heartless and cruel the One Piece world can be. Sabo was told how to live his life purely for the sake of others. And then when he decided to deny that and live his life independently, he was punished. He was killed for wanting to do his own thing. As mentioned, the nobles in this series are a bunch of cowards who hide behind walls of money, even when they know that what they're doing is wrong. As long as they have money, they're fine. A few days later, Ace and Dadan come back from their victory against Blue Jam, but with hope comes despair, as Dagada kills the good vibes to inform everyone about Sabo's death. While Luffy cries his heart out, Ace refuses to accept the truth. A day later, Dagada shows everyone a letter written by Sabo. Ace reads the note. Inside, Sabo tells the Monkey Brothers that he's setting out to sea, unsure of where he's going, but thankful as long as he's far away from the prison of nobility and free in the sea of dreams. He hopes to see them someday out on the Grand Line as pirates and brothers. Ace and Luffy recognize the fact they're way too weak, which makes sense because they are literal children. The Monkey Brothers make a vow to get stronger, to become the very, 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 very strongest of all, planning to set out to sea at 17. 7 years for Ace and 10 years for Luffy.
You gotta make me a promise. Please don't die, Case!
Cut it out! Listen, and you listen up good. I'm never going to die! Sabo told me to take care of you. So I promise, I'm not gonna die, okay? Not ever.
Who's gonna tell him? And so, the Monkey Brothers continue business as usual, fighting bandits, monsters, surviving God, and just being silly. Eventually, 7 years pass in a blink of an eye. Now at 17 years old, Ace says goodbye to everyone and begins his pirate journey. All by himself, the 14-year-old Luffy has 3 more years to train. And in 3 years, Luffy sets sail from Windmill Village to pursue his own quest, and look who showed up to say his goodbyes. It's everyone's favorite Took D Arm. And to prove he's ready for the world, Luffy, the weird kid with the rubber powers, has honed his skills so much that not even a Sea King is a match for him. Look out, world! The king of the pirates is coming. Okay, maybe not yet. Back to present day. While Luffy is going through it, Shanks helps the Whitebeard pirates say goodbye to their brother and father. With a new wave of pirates roaming the seas, not even the quiet town of Windmill Village is safe. However, the terror doesn't last long as Garp takes down the crooks and claims Windmill Village as his territory to protect. Why he didn't do that sooner is beyond me. Most of the villagers praise Garp for the success at Marineford, but there's one mom who's absolutely furious. Curly-head Dodon rushes out of the bar and attacks Garp. Beating and yelling at him, she demands an explanation for why he let Ace die, hating Garp for putting work over the life of family. Makino tries to defuse the situation and assumes Garp is the one suffering the most. A mother knows best. The one who's really suffering is Luffy. Back on Amazon Lily, Jinbei watches Luffy become consumed by a world of despair. Jinbei attempts one more time to calm down Luffy, but with his negative emotions at an all-time high, Luffy attacks Jinbei. This time, using a bit of tough love, Jinbei subdues Luffy, telling him that while he might have lost someone important to him, to look forward and think of what else means just as much. Luffy's mind stops for a second, as he begins to remember the 8 things he treasures most. Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, and Brook. The one thing Luffy still has is his crew.
Luffy!
Luffy!
Me? Oh my god, Luffy, thanks! It feels great to be one of the crew members. You don't know how much this means to me. I love you guys.
Over on the shores of Amazon Lily, the Heart Pirates bear witness to a crazy sight. Out of nowhere, a Sea King rises dead in the water. The one responsible climbs onto shore. Dark King Rayleigh arrives on the island. Rayleigh's ship was destroyed, and so he swam all through the calm belt. Literal fucking Chad. News breaks out fairly quickly on Luffy's recovery, as all of the Kujin warriors are relieved he's okay.
I want to make those cheeks of his stretch and stretch and...
Sanji might be the most down bad character in One Piece. I can agree with that. But the Kuja pirates are fucking freaks. Luffy and Jinbei meet up with Rayleigh. The Boa sisters also arrive carrying a bunch of food. Luffy expresses to Rayleigh his desire to go back to Sabaody to see his friends. Rayleigh reminds Luffy about how his entire crew were neg-dipped by a bear and a pothead. Snapping him back to reality, Rayleigh gives Luffy an idea to help ensure that he can see his crew again. A few days later, as the Marines repair Marineford, one random ship goes rogue and starts attacking. The Marines take a closer look to see Luffy is aboard the ship, but he's not alone. Jinbei and Rayleigh have tagged along. Luffy rushes through the island and finds the Ox Bell. Everyone is confused on what the pirate wants, but before they can ask, Luffy rings the bell of Shandora, ending the 400-year war. Can you hear it, Crocus? The city of gold you've been searching for wasn't at the bottom of the sea. All this time, it was really... Oh wait. Wrong arc. My bad. Ringing the Ox Bell represents the passage of time. Ringing the bell 8 times is to give thanks for the past year, and to ring the bell 8 more times is to give thanks for the new year. So Luffy ringing the bell 16 times represents his way of saying goodbye to White Disease's age, and to say hello to the rubber monkey age. All over the world, newspapers detailing Luffy's scandal confuses everyone, but the one group to get it is the Straw Hat Pirates. On Luffy's arm is a tattoo that looks similar to Ace's, a crossed out 3D with 2Y under it. The original plan to reunite at Sabaody in 3 days has changed. The Straw Hat Pirates must step back and train so they can reunite in 2 years. For the next 2 years, Luffy will reside on Rusukuina. I don't know. An island northwest of Amazon Lily. It's a harsh island with 48 seasons per year and all kinds of savage beasts that not even Luffy can put a dent on. Rayleigh uses this island as the perfect training ground for Luffy. He knows full well that Luffy already is a powerful fighter on his own, but to help him reach that next step, he must learn Haki. Basically, Haki is One Piece's equivalent to Ki, Nen, Chakra, spiritual pressure, and random bullshit. Haki comes in 3 forms. Observation, the 6th sense. Able to sense a person's power, presence, and emotion. It's mainly used for evasive maneuvers. This technique was used in Skypiea, but it was called Mantra. Kobe had just gained this power during Marineford. Next, the invisible armament Haki. Its biggest upside is the ability to bypass the seemingly impossible devil fruit powers, giving a person a fighting chance against the godlike powers of a Logia user. All skilled fighters have access to these 2 powers, but there's one ability that only 1 in every 7 million people have access to. Conqueror's Haki, the mark of a leader, granting the user the power to enforce your will onto others, causing those with a weaker will than yours to be rendered unconscious without even lifting a finger. This ability has been used way back since the beginning of One Piece, and a few times throughout the Summit War saga, with Luffy unlocking it in Amazon Lily. For 1 year, Rayleigh will teach Luffy the basics of Haki. Then for another year, leave Luffy on his own to develop his techniques even further. And so, Luffy sets his straw hat down, thinks about his crew and the promise he made to Shanks, Ace, and Sabo. Monkey D. Luffy, the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, will become king of the pirates. But first, him and his crew are gonna have to put their dreams on hold and get stronger. See you in 2 years. And that's the end of the post-war arc, the Summit War saga, and the first half of One Piece. The post-war arc is a much-needed cooldown and serves as a stopping point for the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats have been going non-stop, going from island to island, world-ending fight after fight, and it's crazy to think about the fact that all 516 episodes took place in less than a year. I enjoy Luffy's flashback. It was silly, but also really sad with Sabo, because pretty much Sabo's whole character was to show that no matter who you are, the world is cruel. Although, I kinda wish we got this flashback before Ace's death. Although, I kinda understand it was probably meant to be used as dramatic irony though. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you thought for the first half of One Piece, the pre-time skip. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole YouTube shebang, and I'll see you in 2 years.
I don't mean that literally.